The morning did not feel remarkable to him. Same elevator ride, same stainless steel doors, same polite bows from people too afraid to meet his eyes. But life never warns you before it changes. Everything. Aarav Malhotra, the man who built an empire brick by sleepless brick, stepped into the lobby, expecting numbers, contracts, and the usual crisis instead. Fate showed up wearing a backpack with glitter stickers and shoes. That lit up when she stepped. She smiled like she'd been waiting for him her whole life. "You're my daddy," she said. And the world quietly rearranged itself. Asterisk before that moment. Aarav believed he understood control. He woke at 4:45 every morning. Never 4:44. Never 4:46. He ran 5 miles, showered, skimmed the headlines, and arrived at Malhotra Global before most people's alarms rang. There was comfort in repetition. Life was clean lines, schedules predictable, except the thing that mattered most. He noticed the child because she wasn't supposed to be there. Children didn't belong in corporate lobbies with marble floors and security scanners taller than they were. She stood with one foot slightly angled inward, the way children do when they're excited but nervous. Her hair was parted unevenly, as if someone braided it quickly before rushing out the door. Her eyes, startlingly bright, startlingly familiar, were fixed on him. "You took a while," she said, as if he'd kept her waiting. A security guard, half panicked, stepped forward. "Sir, I'm trying to locate her guardian." The girl interrupted cheerfully. "I can say it again if you didn't hear." Aarav found himself answering before he thought. "What exactly are you saying?" She puffed her cheeks, gathering courage like it was air. "That you're my daddy," she said simply, like a fact too obvious to debate. She didn't whisper it. She didn't hesitate. She just trusted the truth would do the work. For a man who negotiated billion-dollar deals without blinking. Aarav had no response. His mind shot through a maze of possibilities. Mistaken identity. A prank? Someone trying to blackmail him? But logic drowned beneath a deeper, quieter tremor, dot recognition, not of her face, but of something beneath it. A laugh like a ringing bell. A pair of warm eyes. A name that lives somewhere in his mind, obscured by ambition and time. He opened his mouth to speak when a voice cut through the marble silence. Sweetheart. Don't run off like that." The name hit him first. Aara dot, and then the woman. She walked with caution, like she'd trained life to stop surprising her. Her skin carried the softness of someone who once laughed easily, and the shadows of someone who learned to carry more weight than one person should. She wasn't dressed to impress plain clothes. A tote bag with frayed corners, yet somehow she commanded more space than a room full of executives ever could. And when her eyes lifted to meet his, time did the strangest thing. It remembered what he forgot. Me-E-H-E-R, the memory didn't return smoothly. It arrived in pieces, rain streaking down a glass wall. A song playing faintly near closing time, her head tipped back in laughter. The taste of champagne, a kiss he didn't expect. Warmth he didn't plan for it, and then a morning he left behind without meaning to. He felt his stomach fall. "Her," he said. The name landing like an apology. She blinked. Not surprised, he remembered. Not relieved either. "Just acknowledging I wasn't sure if you still knew it," she said quietly. There was no accusation, no anger, just truth. That felt worse than yelling. Aarav looked at the girl at Aara and forced himself to ask the question he feared might make him feel small. "She's my daughter." Her answered. Aara. Bored with adult tension, pressed her nose to a glass award case nearby. "And mine," she added, as if claiming her role. The air inside Aarav's chest turned thin. He didn't stumble backward, but it felt like he had. 7 years. 7 years of firsts, first steps, first words, first scraped knees, all lived without him. Every instinct screamed for details. Why didn't she call? How could she raise a child alone? Why didn't he know? But instincts weren't always kind. And questions that start with, "Why didn't you?" usually end in wounds. So instead he asked, "Can we talk?" Mayhor nodded once tightly. They rode the elevator up, Aara bouncing between floors that dinged like tiny celebrations. Inside his office, a space built like a fortress of success. My horse stood uncertainly. "This place is too clean," Aara announced. "It needs crayons." Aarav almost laughed when the door closed behind them. Mayhor spoke first. "I didn't come to ask for anything." He believed her immediately. "My life shifted overnight," she continued, voice steady. "Yours was already moving too fast to catch. I didn't want to drag you backward. You could have called," he said, then winced at how hollow it sounded. Mayhor sighed, not irritated, just tired. "Do you know what it feels like to dial a number and wonder if the person on the other end even remembers your name?" The truth stung because it fit too well. She stepped closer, not enough to touch, but enough for honesty. "You were chasing your dreams. I was learning how to breathe through morning sickness and job interviews. I couldn't gamble on heartbreak." He thought of the boy he was then, fire, ambition, ego, youth. He wouldn't have handled the news with grace. He might have run. She had spared him and their child from that version of himself. "Why come now?" he asked. Meher looked at Aara, tracing tiny shapes on his window with her fingertip. She started asking questions, and I didn't want her to grow up thinking she wasn't wanted. The word wanted hit him harder than Daddy ever could. Aara turned suddenly. "Mommy said if you saw me, you'd just know," Clay said softly. There it was, the bridge between two strangers bound by fate. He crossed it first. "Would you like to spend some time with me?" he asked the little girl. Her smile didn't burst. It bloomed, slow, beautiful, confident. "Yes," she said. "But not here. It's boring." 20 minutes later, Aarav Malhotra, usually surrounded by accountants and analysts, ate fries at a plastic table in a fast food restaurant decorated with cartoon bees. Aara narrated her entire 6 years, her favorite cartoon, her least favorite vegetable, how she once tried to glue glitter to a cat unsuccessfully. Mayhor sat quietly, watching them, relief and ache tangled in her eyes. Aarav had never taken more notes in his life, not on paper, but into something newly awake inside him. On the drive home, Aara fell asleep holding a balloon like a promise. Mayhor unbuckled her carefully. "You don't have to stay," she whispered. For once, Aarav didn't think he felt. "I already wasted 7 years," he replied. "I won't lose any more." Her lips parted, hope flickering, fear pushing it down. "I don't know what this becomes," she whispered. "Neither do I," he answered. "But I'm here, for," and he swallowed. "And for you, if you'll let me earn it." She didn't answer, but she didn't close the door either. Sometimes beginning again is quieter than a kiss. Sometimes it's simply a man showing up the next morning and the next, until showing up becomes ordinary and staying becomes instinct. And that was how Aarav Malhotra, who once believed love was a distraction, discovered the only eau de clean. I've loved the only eau de clean / ingredients. If you're using like a scanner app and it's like, we're using look at this, look at this. And we love with CDs. And we all know I've been exploring that I've left to see live. I love with complays, descrive. I couldn't be love. We love with CD. Thing worth slowing down for. A name he forgot. A moment he lost. A daughter who refused to let either stay buried. Some stories begin with fireworks. This one began with a name remembered too late and a child brave enough to say the truth out loud. He forgot her name. Life moved him forward. But fate brought him back, not for guilt, not for redemption, but for the family waiting quietly outside his empire. If this story touched your heart, stay with us for more journeys of love, loss, and rediscovery. Comment your favorite moment. Like if you believe in second chances, subscribe so you never miss the next chapter, because sometimes the smallest voice tells the biggest truth.